How will this impact the midterm elections and any elections going forward? Because the American people saw what happened in that testimony. They saw what went down. And they're not buying that this is all about a culture war.
Well, cutting out, but what I can tell you about Judge Jackson is she is the most radical nominee to the Supreme Court in the history of the United States. And even though we're having some audio difficulties, I know that you can hear me, and I want you to know that the Heritage Foundation would not say that were it not true. I'm so grateful to our friends, Senators Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz, for leading the effort in exposing her weakness, especially when it comes to being soft on crime, especially with sex offenders, Liz. This is the kind of thing that you can't make up. And keep in mind, I haven't even mentioned anything about her inability to define what the word woman means. This is truly absurd, regardless of how pleasant she comes across. This is someone who's unfortunately very likely to become a member of the Supreme Court and have decades of very radical leftist jurisprudence.
Let's stay on this for a second. Not being able to answer a simple question, what a woman is. You know, Senator Rand Paul has brought this up too. This is about Title IX cases coming before courts, about, you know, lawsuits involving student athletes, equal opportunity cases, you know, at colleges and universities discriminating on the basis of sex. You know, Senator Blackburn brought up the famous VMI male-only admissions case. That was struck down by the Supreme Court. Senator Blackburn was quoting liberal icon Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, saying that, quote, physical differences between men and women, however, are enduring. The two sexes are not fungible. Watch what happened with this exchange. Watch.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition? No.
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in this context.
So
I'm not a biologist.
The fact that you can't give me a straight answer about something as fundamental as what a woman is underscores the dangers of the kind of progressive education that we are hearing about.
Your reaction?
My reaction is, having been a classroom teacher, a history professor, a college president, if there were a student sitting in my classroom who answered that question so simple the way Judge Jackson did, I would fail them, and I would tell them they needed to come back the next day and try again. And that leads me to a really important point, Liz, and it is something equally alarming to Judge Jackson's response, and it's that the absurdity of that response, how ludicrous that response is, did not change a single Democrat vote. That's where the Democrat Party stands today. It has become hijacked by the radical left, and it is crucial for Americans, wherever they are on the political spectrum, to understand that this judge, however sweet and pleasant she seems to be, is going to be the most radical leftist jurist in the history of this country. That's really saying something when you think about some of the folks who are already on the Supreme Court.
You know, let's talk about this too, because the way the coverage has been moving forward, right? It's what the GOP is basically saying. We're just asking the questions, but they got slammed by CNN, MSNBC, and other media networks, elevating it into something else, that it was about racism, sexism, QAnon conspiracies, and more. When we watch the hearings day to day, and it's unclear how the media is going off and why on this tangent. Is it just because they're speaking to their amen corner of their ratings and what they're getting in terms of their own rating base? Watch this.
Josh Hawley, you know, fist in the air Josh, and slaveholder descendant Tom Cotton reprised their QAnon baiting smears against Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. They were treating her like a black shopper that they were following through the store.
A day of grandstanding and speech-making and hissy-fitting in the Senate today. No Republican has been more hot and bothered than Lindsey Graham of South Carolina.
This is about midterm elections, appealing to culture wars, appealing to a segment of the GOP that is into conspiracy theories.
In particular, Senator Blackburn's line of questioning. Did you see racism in any of that?
You know what I mean? It's just poisoning the national conversation. How just about sticking to what the questions and answers were, Dr. Roberts?
Well, the questions were really fair. I mean, if you think about the treatment of the two previous nominees to the Supreme Court, and you contrast that with the treatment that all members of the Judiciary Committee, including those you featured who had some tough questions for the judge, you realize they were treating her really well. And it just shows you how radical the agenda has become for the left. They tried to weaponize wokeism. The good news is that that weapon turned into a boomerang, and it's going to come back and really bite them, Liz, in the midterm elections, and I would argue in the presidential election. The bad news is, I'm afraid, because this has not altered any Democrat votes, she's going to get confirmed, and we're probably, because we wish her a very long life, many decades of very liberal jurisprudence.
Dr. Roberts, great to have you on.